this is what I love about Jalen or guys that can do this, right? How do you manipulate the media? The media always tries to manipulate you, right? Create headlines out of snippets of things you say. Maybe it doesn't quote you the entire quote, Max. But how do I get the media to talk about things that I want them to talk about? And for Jalen Hurts at the end, if you're not asked a question about your opponent, the mentality that he thinks, okay, actually, let me just bring this conversation back to what's important. You guys can ask me all these questions about me, about my stardom, about all the things that we're doing, about how good we are this year, but I respect my opponent. So I'm going to make it a point to talk about how good the Cardinals are, about what we have to face, to change this narrative about moving away from me to my opponent.
And it's also the way he said it, guys. Like, he didn't just pay it lip service the way he said it with a certain authority that sounded like a leader, right? Yes. And because you're supposed to say stuff like that. This is a really good team, but he didn't sing-song it in a way that made you said there's nothing behind it. He said it.
Well, because he's authentic, though,
yes.
Man. You're not dealing with a guy that would just get up there and be like, well, we're gonna, and that ain't even you, man. This is him. You know what I'm saying? And so
100%.
When you authentic, it just rolls off the tongue just like that. And if you saw him walking in the streets in Philly and asked him a question about what he think about the Cardinals, guess what? He's going to say the same thing.
Yep.
It's not a switch-up game for him. He's been through it. And people like to say, well, he's a son of a coach. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But he's also a son of two parents that gets it, that taught his kids, their kids, very well and brought them up a certain way. So there's a certain found a respect that you have for your opponent. And Jalen Hurts understands that these games in the National Football League, no matter who you are, if he was playing against the Houston Texans, he'd say the same thing because it's true. You can't just assume because a team is struggling that you're going to go in there and open up a can of you-know-what, because they'll open up a can on you if you take them lightly and don't take it serious and don't study it up and watch the film and all of those things. And that's not who he is. He understands. He knows that the world is watching to see how he's going to continue to evolve in their minds. But in my mind, he's already evolved. There's no more conversation about what Jalen Hurts is as a quarterback. If they should trade out of their picks and go get a quarterback, all that sort of stuff, you're not even hearing that now. For whatever reason, I think people woke up and realized, yeah, we probably shouldn't have been saying that to begin with.
Well, I think really when it reaches that level, when you're not asking, can he keep doing this? But no, this is who he is. That's when you get paid usually. But let's not let
Max
this
to the money.
Exactly.
Yeah,
hey, man.
But what you said about the authenticity, this is like a pet subject of mine, right? Because I notice it when guys – when it just trips off his tongue, right? When it's internalized, he doesn't need to answer every question through a matrix of what do people want to hear, how am I, what position am I in, blah, blah, blah. It's in him. So it just comes right out without a filter. He doesn't need to filter it.
And people like that, right?
Yeah.
It's they don't want somebody who's calculated, who is on a script, and we could tell, and you could tell, Jay, being a former player, also a broadcaster, who's on script. He's not on script. He's off script. That's just who he is.
Key.
I'm Jalen Hurts. This is what it is.
Key. So we're talking about the Eagles. We came off a game last night in which the Broncos lost. Who looks like they're more cool, calm, and collective and in control, right?
Well,
hold on a second, man. It's like, listen to Russell speak. It feels like you talk about authenticity. Like, I know that is authentically who Russ is, but it feels like he's pressed, right?
It sounds rehearsed.
It's very rehearsed, whereas when I listen to Jalen Hurts, it's like, yeah, man, like I'm going to take what the game gives me, but first off, this is what we're going to talk about.
And the confidence key
is
is
so different.
I love that because it's Russell Wilson who's actually got more energy in it. And it's Jalen Hurts who's more laid back about it, and yet it's Jalen Hurts who sounds much more confident.
It's like Jalen Hurts sounds like the old vet, more so than Russ.
It's obviously it's two different situations, right?
Yes,
you got one guy coming out of stress, just lost the game, and everybody's going, "What the hell are you doing?" You got another guy who's at the podium before a game, but is calm and could very well continue the conversation about itself. But the one thing when it comes to authentic, not authentic, worrying about what people say about you, all those sort of things. And I go back to what Russ said. Russell wanted to say something. He wanted to use the word ass, but he used the word butt. And so it's okay to say ass, man, at a press conference. You know, it's okay. And so rather than worry about, if I say this, these people, if you listen to the sound, he was getting ready and he, but
the children,
on,
Key.
But
Key, excuse me. Ask the children. Ask the children, Key.
Man, listen,
this even happened though when Jalen Hurts was in that battle of a quarterback position with Carson Wentz. He still handled the media the same way, even after losses. It's been consistent, man.
That's why certain people in our industry look at Russell Wilson differently. Mm-hmm. If you play that sound back and just hear what he was saying when he got to the butt, he really wanted to say ass. And I'm like, just say it, man. They not going to take your endorsements away. You don't have to worry about that. But he's got to, that's just who he is. That's all I can say. And his teammates, certainly last night, I sensed something in that locker room. I'm not in the locker room, babies, but I've been in a locker room, and I've been on fields. And I've, as a player, have side-eyed teammates when I got tired of them.
He got that last night.
And he got the side eye 100 times last night.
Yeah, social
especially
media is
when he
blowing
came
up
out
with
that tent.
Yeah, social media is
People
blowing
see
up with that. But what you just said, Key, that's really another way to think about it. Russell Wilson gives the impression that at all times he is brand conscious, right?
Can't do it.
I make jokes about tweeting about the Queen's passing, but come on. Why? Like, that's part of the whole thing. When he talks, he's being brand conscious. And Jalen Hurts, when he talks, is thinking about winning the next game. And that's all. He's thinking about winning the next game.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.